welcome to episode 66 of the Nerdom and Other Nonsense Anime podcast. Today we are bringing you the fourth week of the fall 2018 season. As always, we include timestamps in the description of the YouTube video and podcast feed if you only want to hear about one or two specific shows, since we will spoil everything. My name is Leo, and now that Netflix is making an Altered Carbon anime, I just can't wait for the chilling adventures of Sabrina anime. Also with me are Bcom and Kat.
Hey!
That was the best you got, Bcom?
I mean, it's topical. I mean, I figured you'd be really into the chilling adventures of Sabrina. It looks cool. It looks like it's up your alley.
I did check out, I think, the first episode, and it's kind of already dropped it. It's whatever. It's whatever.
I know Kat watched Altered Carbon, like, at the gym on her iPad or something.
Yeah, I did. It was interesting.
I remember that.
I think I only watched, like, the first two episodes and never watched it again.
Oh, really? It's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's amazing. It's no, like, Breaking Bad or anything, but it's good.
Yeah. I'm more interested in the Pacific Rim anime they're going to make.
So I guess that's technically maybe not an anime. It's an animated series, but I don't know if it's actually an anime. I'm interested in the series Yasuke from the guy who made the Boondocks, LaShawn Thomas.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah, that's going to be great. I'm hyped for that, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. Altered Carbon is a good like source material for an anime project, like cyberpunk cool stuff. Like, yes, please.
It'll be interesting to see the differences and the similarities between live action and the anime. Yeah.
Cool.
All right,
yeah, let's get started.
We have current anime to talk about. Yeah, let's get into those. So this is week 4, and we're starting with Double Decker Doug Kirill, week 4, episode 4. So. This is called Derek Returns, but for how long? So, yeah, this episode opens up, and it kind of just, like, pulls the rug out from under the audience, because it's like, oh, Derek, Doug's old partner, is back. He's not dead. And it's like, they had given us every hint that he had died in action up to this point. And, like, Kirill's just like, what do you mean he's not dead? Like, and he thinks back, and he's like, oh, they never actually said he was dead.
Right.
And so he was actually just in the hospital, and he gets out, and he just goes to open up a bar, because apparently it's always been his dream to become a bartender. And that's really all there is. The narrator is like, yep, that's the whole story, and that's Derek's story.
It's awesome.
Moving on. So instead, this episode kind of focuses on some of Travis's angels, as they call them, like Charlie's angels, of the women of 7-0. So, yeah, Travis jokes that he's gotten a request from above, quote unquote, to see more of Pink and Rookie. I think we know where that came from. I think Leo made that request.
I did.
Yeah. So
I also
Sophie,
requested that Deanna does rock climbing in her off time.
Oh, yeah, she does.
Yeah, she
that's
does.
pretty cool.
Except whoever drew her roped in apparently wants her to die.
Oh, really? Is that just like not going to work at all?
No, she's not even, the rope's not even clipped into the wall. It's just tied to something up top. All it's going to do is guide her in a straighter path to the bottom when she falls. I don't know who did that, but
Yeah.
Yeah, if it was right, you would see like actually 2 ropes there. It'd be 1 rope, but it would be doubled as it looped from the top back down.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, Sophie has apparently used her feminine wiles to get them a tip on this host club that is selling Anthem. A bunch of handsome boys selling Anthem. So the only problem is the case is technically under the jurisdiction of the Drug Control Division, because they don't have proof that Anthem is being sold yet. They just have a tip. So any drug cases are supposed to go through this other division, and so they need to kind of be careful not to step on their toes. So they go to the club. Deanna goes with Kay, and Deanna gets very into character at this host club. Like,
she's awesome.
This is what Kat would act like at a host club. I think she would definitely.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Let's not
taking
lie.
company money and pouring champagne bottles on top, like shirtless boys.
Is it a shirtless boy, or is he just straight up naked in that giant champaign glass?
I think it's left to your imagination.
I think he's naked in that champagne glass. Because this host like climbs into this big ass champagne like bathtub, basically, that is a champagne glass, and she's just like pouring it over him, and I'm like, that dude's naked. Like,
yeah. this is also like, what a terrible waste of champagne. Like,
That too.
come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on. Whatever. It's fun. So they attract because she's acting all like a big honcho, like they attract the attention of this guy they'd been tipped off about, like they think is the anthem dealer, and he takes them to a back alley to offer them drugs. And this is where Deanna kind of gets ahead of herself because she assumes he has anthem on him, and he doesn't. Like she like pats him down and finds that it's just normal everyday drugs, you know? And still, Deanna, like, wants to arrest him, but Kay is like, no, he's not in our jurisdiction. We can't arrest him. And Kay kind of gets distracted. She's holding the gun on him, and he, like, knocks it away. And then he runs around the corner. And then Kay is just telling Deanna, like, we can't shoot here. Like, if we shoot, like, it's out of our jurisdiction. We get in, like, huge trouble. So the guy gets away. And, like, Deanna's, like, kind of bitchy about it. She, like, really lays into Kay for letting this guy get away. But they're kind of both equally at fault. Like, don't you think? Because, like, Deanna is the one who acted too quickly and lost her cool, basically. So, I don't know. I think they're both at fault there.
No teamwork.
So, yeah, Kay... Oh, yeah. Kay heads to the bar with Kirill and the others, which was supposed to be for Kirill's welcome party. But Deanna's not there, so instead it just turns into, like, Kay drunkenly complaining about Deanna. And I say drunkenly... because, like, the show makes it very clear, like, she's drinking non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah.
Like, it says it twice. It's, like, non-alcoholic beer, and then it's, like, there's no alcohol in her beer. Like, just, like, reinforce the fact that she's just acting drunk as, like, an excuse to complain. And she's just upset because Deanna clearly doesn't want a partner. And even when she does, like, work with her, she has, like, a completely different style from her. And Doug just tries to explain, like, Deanna, like, has grown up, like, in a rough way. Like, she's made it through a lot of rough times, and this is the best way she's found to survive. So maybe you can learn something from her, basically. Meanwhile, Deanna goes to a different bar, to Derek's bar, Doug's old partner, and he tries to explain, like, the double-decker system and what's beneficial about it. He's like, well, you don't have to do as much work, and you get all the credit for anything your partner does as well. And they back you up. And he thinks, like, a prissy little schoolgirl, which is what Deanna calls Kay, is, like, exactly what Kay needs, or sorry, what Deanna needs to balance her out. And then there's, like, a brief moment where, like, off-screen, Derek also tells Deanna why he quit 7-0. So we don't hear what it is, but we do see Deanna just, like, laughing in reaction to this and saying it's really dumb. So I'm curious to find out why he left. But yeah, things change really fast in the second half because Kay goes to one of her old instructors from the drug control division, this guy named Gary, and asks him as a favor to check out the host club because they've gotten into this mess.
Gary or Gall?
I think it's Gary.
Yeah, it's Gary. No, only you would get that. It's a Destiny joke.
Oh, God, you're right. God damn it. That's such like a niche joke. Like,
It's very niche, yes.
Like 10 people will get that. That's funny. So he agrees. But it quickly turns out that Gary, or Gall, is corrupt and has been working with the host club to sell like fake stimulants in place of real Anthem. And so he actually chooses to sell real Anthem to, like, idiots because it has a 30% fatality rate when you take it. And then he chooses people he wants to survive and gives them stimulants instead and makes them think that they're chosen by Anthem because they didn't die. So it's a curious thing.
Yeah.
So Kay is taken hostage, and then Yuri and Kirill, who were trying to follow her, are also taken hostage. They just, like, show up there kind of out of the blue. I guess they're sent by other people, like, saying, like, you should go check on her. Gary asks Kay to make her friends bring them an anti-AMS bullet sample, which would be, like, worth a fortune to the people trying to fight the effects of Anthem because it's, like, the only known cure, I guess. And I guess it's kind of weird that 7-0 seemed to have a monopoly on this, like, bullet thing. Like, that seems like... I don't know. It seems like you would have, like, doctors who would have access to it, too, or something. I don't know.
I thought that, too. It was a little odd. I was like, why do they only have it?
Yeah. That's, like, yeah, it's a lot of responsibility. So Gary gets Kay to call Deanna to bring the bullet over and tricks her into, like, thinking it will lure on, the like, that kingpin person, Esperanza. But that was all set up. And so Gary then goes all stupid bad guy villain, character and tries to shoot Deanna at the meeting. But like Deanna jumps into her car and then gets the drop on him when he lets his guard down. Gary uses Anthem to become a monster and grabs Kay, threatening to kill her. But like Kay like sees Deanna lick her lips, which is like she recognizes this as a sign that she's about to make a move.
What's funny, this show shows her doing that like 3 different times from 3 different angles, and I'm like, okay, I get it. You're sexualizing it.
Yes. It's like this could be something else. We know.
So yeah, I mean like. Kay sees that. She's like, oh, I have a chance. And so she like blinds Gary with a flashlight, and Deanna like climbs up Gary and like gets him to release his grip on Kay, and then eventually jumps back up and like shoots a bullet of medicine down his throat, taking him down. So Yuri, who was chained up with Kirill, the robot girl, like easily breaks out of her chains as soon as she realizes that Gary's been taken down, because I guess they were just letting themselves be like chained up to like keep the other bad guys just like busy.
She was. Not
she
Kirill.
was.
Not Kirill.
Kirill's an idiot. He just like
yeah.
doesn't know. Like, and so like Max like breaks through the wall, Maxine, on her motorcycle, and like they tie up these host club guys like really easily. Yuri like goes all like super robot like when she breaks her chains. It's kind of cool. And they've just been keeping them distracted there. And yeah, so after it's all over, Kay tells Deanna she wants to keep learning from her, but she needs to play by the rules, And Deanna's like, Kay, you remind me of my old partner. And you see this like flashback to when she was like a young girl. And then like Yuri and Max, I think it is like tell Kay like, oh yeah, her old partner, I think that was her dog. Her dog's name was Kay. So yeah. And yeah, like Deanna at the end of the episode, it's like, Kay, can you just say woof for me, please? She's like, no. And yeah, Kirill tells Doug like, I think Yuri might be a robot. And Doug is just like, I don't know, man. Maybe like you go on like apparently it's very well known. Like everybody else knows that she's a robot. It's like very well known, except for Kirill.
Like, I'll public let you knowledge. Know if I find out any more information. And then in the background, the like narrator is just like, Doug is an asshole. You're just like, oh my god.
I loved it. It was great.
Yeah. So I liked finding out more about the Travis's Angels part of the group, because I've been waiting to find out more about them, but I still want to get like more like episodes centered around like the different characters. Like I want to really find out about Maxine or Max, like what's her deal.
Yeah.
And like I would like another like Yuri episode because she was pretty cool. She seems like really cool.
Max and Yuri will probably have an episode together if I had to guess.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And about their
anything else you guys noticed from this episode?
No. Okay. You weren't happy with the visuals though, right?
Oh, yeah. So near the end, there were some weird things that happened. Like, so with Deanna's character, they kept jumping back and forth between CG and hand-drawn animation for her, because anytime they're far away and she's in like a scene with like another person, they were drawing her CG or like modeling her as a CG character. Any close-up, they were doing hand-drawn, and it just got a little bit jarring as they're going back and forth between those constantly by the end of the episode. And I also noticed that Kay's facial features, like near the end, in the last few scenes, were like pretty poor quality. Like her eyes were too far apart or too close together a couple times. I was just like, eh.
I did notice the CG thing. Yeah. I was like, oh, that's not looking great.
Yeah.
Well, they had their best of the best working on the lip licking. I mean, that's where all of it went.
Right?
You can tell.
All the money. All the money went there. Like, it's nothing like My Sister, My Writer level of terrible faces.
I saw that.
It's nothing like that. But it was noticeable, and I was like, oh, I hope this isn't like a sign of things to come, because it's only episode 4,
Yeah.
But yeah. Stuff like that tends to happen after episode 3, right? Because, 3-episode rule. It's like, we got to episode 4.
Yeah, it's like they're locked in now, fuckers.
They just bring in kids to draw in crayon episode 4.
Yeah. They're like, ha, we tricked you.
Right. I'm ready to move on. Tell us about the next thing, Kat.
Okay, oh shit. So, like, this episode of The Girl in Twilight was, like, really long and, like, really involved, I felt like. Okay. So the episode starts with Mia and Asuka, like, both watching the same Western show on TV. And they're both, like, in their house. It's late at night. Like, you know, you wake up in the middle of the night and you turn on some dumb show. And, like, the catchphrase of the show is hilarious to me. It's like, rather than gold, what an outlaw like you deserves is lead. And I'm like, okay.
It's perfectly cheesy for this. Perfectly.
Yeah. So, like, Mia's mom comes in and walks in on her watching the show. And, like, Mia immediately is like, oh, I don't like this show. I just happened to turn on the TV and it was on. And, like, it's obvious that her mom disapproves of it and, like, turns the show off. And meanwhile, at Asuka's house, her grandma, like, walks in on Asuka watching it and is like, oh, that's whatever. And then she thinks someone is robbing the shed and has Asuka go out to investigate. Like, first of all, did I miss why Asuka's family isn't around? Because, like, they mentioned that her family isn't around. Did I miss this?
I don't know.
I don't
Do they
remember
run
either.
the miso shop? Like, I assume that they just run her miso shop, and maybe
Well, but
they're
they'd be around in the
late
middle of the
'cause of
night. Like, I'm assuming, like, they're out on vacation or something. I don't know. They didn't. I don't
Maybe
remember
they're just
them
keeping them
telling
off
you that.
screen.
Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe they're just asleep or something.
Who knows? And
don't
then
know.
also, why would the grandma be like, hey, 14-year-old girl, go confront this robber? Like, don't have someone go confront a robber. That's terrible. Even if it's like a
little did
big
you
burly
know.
guy, don't have them do that.
Little did you know that Asuka has a wicked, evil ladle swing on her. She's
Oh, yeah.
lethal.
Yeah, when she started walking out with the ladle, I laughed. It was pretty great.
Yeah. She's badass with that ladle. But yeah, no, in the end, it's only like Serious Ka or whatever. Like the other Asuka that they call.
Twilight, Asuka.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're going with.
I just call her Serious Ka because that's what they fucking call her. I don't know. And she's like eating just straight up miso from the storehouse, like just by itself. And I'm just like, ew, don't eat it by itself. Put that shit in something, you barbarian.
Well, she has a little box for it. She is saving a box to take with her to, like, other worlds. But, like, yeah, she was testing it out, I think,
It's
too.
like it's like eating ketchup like by itself. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Put some. It's for dipping, okay? It's for mixing and dipping. No.
My
a condiment.
stepsister puts ketchup on everything, and I'm pretty sure she eats it straight sometimes.
Craziness.
I totally know people who do that, who, like, drown everything in ketchup. It's ridiculous.
Ugh. But yeah, so later on, like, they all go to the cafe, and Twilight Asuka gives Yu back her underwear, and I don't remember her ever borrowing Yu's underwear.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be off-screen, basically, like, something that she had borrowed because she needed more underwear.
But, like, do you guys get the idea that maybe we're missing, like, some part of the plot that, like, maybe they're gonna go back in time later and explain these things? Because, like, one thing that we all missed is one thing, but, like, two things? I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking
possibly.
too much into it, but maybe not. Ooh.
I don't know. That's interesting. It could be, but I doubt it. I would say I doubt it. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? But anyway, and then she also gives Nana, like, an astral model that she can use to transform into her other self. But then she's like, I've said it, so you can only use it in this fragment, because I don't want you going around and by yourself and doing shit. And I'm like, okay. Right then, there's suddenly, like, on the radio, like, a request suddenly from someone called Lovey-Dovey Asuka, and the message is, let's go west, which in Japanese sounds really similar to the numbers 13245, which is a frequency. So they all just dumbly follow this frequency again. They're like, oh, let's go!
Yeah.
And then as they leave to go do this, the camera kind of like pans to a cloaked figure in the corner of the cafe. And it's the same chick that was the fortune teller before, who told Nana the frequency last time. So apparently someone's like, Twilight Asuka needs some help with these clutters. Like, I'm gonna send these bitches to help her, even if she doesn't want them there.
Or maybe she's a Twilight King.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, like
I'm just throwing that out there. It's totally random.
Yeah, maybe. That's just my thought. But yeah, so they decide that they should go. And they're like, okay, Asuka, you be the link this time. And they're like, if we get lost, we'll meet at the cafe. But like then a caterpillar dangles like in front of Asuka and she like jumps. And the cassette player gets thrown. And then Mia catches it, so she ends up moving first when they transfer, and so then she ends up being the link instead of Asuka. And then also, the new fragment world that they transfer to is just a Western world, just like the show they were just watching.
Oh no, so that was weird. So what Nana describes it as the time, like America around the time of Ii Naosuke. So I had to look that up because, like, I don't know who the hell Ii Naosuke is. So he was this like really important political figure in like the late 1850s in Japan. So this is like a really weird way of just saying it's like, oh, it's America around the late 1850s.
Oh, it's like the Japanese way of saying that, like in a way that everyone there would know. Okay, interesting.
Exactly.
I was like, what? Yeah. But yeah, so Mia overhears, like, when she gets to the other world, she's the link. She's sort of sitting in the cafe, and she overhears this world's Asuka, who is a bounty hunter, asking Yu, who is, like, working at the cafe, about these two women outlaws who she's, like, looking for. And Yu hasn't seen them. Also, Asuka is, like, flirting hardcore with Yu. Like, Asuka's like, yeah, that ass. And I'm like... Okay. But yeah, then in her mind, Mia's like, oh, in this world, Asuka and you don't know each other like they do in our world. They aren't childhood friends. And like also Asuka is really different. Like she's very stubborn and like badass here. I don't know. You find out later, like, it seems like every time Asuka and Yu in one of these fragments don't know each other, they, like, immediately are sexually attracted to each other. It's weird. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, and as, like, this world's Asuka leaves the cafe, she just randomly fires her gun twice inside the salon, which is, like, fucking dangerous.
She was shooting the wanted poster.
It doesn't matter what she was shooting. Chloe. She was inside a fucking building. You don't shoot your gun in a building. She wasn't shooting
randomly.
But still, you don't do it. That's like gun safety 101.
This is the Wild West. You get away with wild shit. No. Come on.
Yeah.
No. Okay. Anyway. So then later, like, Yaji Sensei is playing poker with some other dude and cheats him, and they start fighting. And then Mia is urged to break up the fight since apparently it's her job, but she's, like, too pussy to do anything. So then luckily Sheriff Hakuma arrives and is like, what's going on? And, like, immediately breaks up the fight. And apparently we find out Mia is the sheriff's deputy, and they go off together to do something that the sheriff's like, we need to do this. And like weirdly, just as Mia leaves, the rest of the gang get to the cafe. And then the Yu of this world at first is surprised, thinking that like Asuka has caught Chloe and Nana. But then, like, the regular Yu, I'm going to call it, like, the people from the original world, the regular one. Because otherwise it's going to get really confusing.
It's really tough. Yeah, like, I understand. The struggle is real.
Yeah, so regular Yu waited outside. She didn't go in with the other three because she's like, oh, Yu is, like, this world's Yu is already in the cafe, so I better not go in there because it's going to be weird. So you've got the three of them inside, you waiting outside, and then this world's you inside. So picture that in your brain. You got it?
No, it just broke.
No. But then this world's Chloe and Nana, who are the outlaws, run in and hide under the counter because they're being chased by this world's Asuka, who is a bounty hunter. So the bounty hunter runs in after them, but then sees regular Nana and Chloe instead, and is like, oh, it's the outlaws. And they're like, oh no, someone's chasing us. And so they run out, and then this world's Asuka runs after them. And then after they leave, this world's Chloe and Nana, who are actually the outlaws, pop up from behind the counter and are like, I wonder why the bounty hunter left.
I have this in writing in front of me and watched the episode, and I'm lost.
I know, it's so chaotic. That's why I was like, oh, this is going to be difficult. Okay. So meanwhile, regular you, like the original you, is all confused because she's seen people running in and out of this cafe like crazy. And she's like, what the fuck is happening? So she goes inside the cafe where regular Asuka is yelling at like the outlaw Nana and Chloe from this world. And she's like, why did you come in here and you fucked everything up? And then of course you enters and then everyone flips their shit because now there are two yous and everyone's like, what? Like, and it's just even more chaotic. And then this world's Asuka catches regular Nana and Chloe and takes them to the sheriff's station to collect the bounty. And obviously that he's not in because he's with Mia doing some whatever the fuck they're doing. So they have to wait. And regular Nana tries to convince this world's Asuka, the bounty hunter, that they aren't the bandits. Like that the bandits are like different people. But it doesn't work. So that sucks for them. And then at this point, we learned that everything in this world is apparently decided by duels. Like, there's even TV shows filmed, and they're like hosts that are called judges, where people just like duel live on TV and like kill each other. And then there's like this scene where Hakuma and Mia are like watching one of these things take place, and it's with Judge Hishi, and like they comment that Hishi is like losing popularity. I guess this will be more. I feel like this is gonna come up later. Mia
she's like the Judge Judy of this world.
That's what I thought too. I was like, well, the hot Judge Judy because she's like young.
Sure.
Yeah. So Mia asked the sheriff like why they need us if everything is decided by duel, and he explains like duels are only for civil matters, but if there's like evidence of a crime, people can be charged without a duel. So it's the sheriff's job to find evidence for the crimes. I don't know, like, and I just thought to myself, like, how intense would things like custody hearings be? Like, since that's a civil matter.
Oh my god!
Like, if everything was decided by duels.
It would be a lot shorter, that's for sure.
Yeah. Just have like
a lot
both
less
people
attorney's fees.
stand like on either side, and the kids like in the middle watching, and then just whoever gets dies first, like the other one gets the kid. Damn.
Yeah, this whole setup reminded me of a couple episodes of like the original Kino's Journey. Just it's like the kind of thing that they would run into, like, or like the Coliseum episode of Kino's Journey, where it's like you settle things like by like winning in the Coliseum, but or like the town that they go in, like the new Kino's Journey, where like everybody can shoot everybody, but you know, like people don't like it when you actually shoot people. Like they are like luring bad people there to shoot them.
Oh, there's like the town with no laws.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So this reminded me of that stuff. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, no, it is a really interesting kind of world. And then so this world's Asuka serves regular Nana and Chloe some like pastry thing as dessert. And they're like, well, we know she's still Asuka. She served us dessert as dinner. And we find out she became a bounty hunter in this world because her parents died like really young because of all the duels, and she needed to support herself. And then you find out this world's Mia is like much more assertive than like the regular world Mia, and I think Mia is kind of surprised that like her alternate version is very strong-willed and everything.
That her breaking that mold will be what gets her cassette player. Tape
yeah.
or whatever.
Sure.
That's definitely what's going to end up happening. And you find out this world's Nana and Chloe, who are the outlaws, are taking care of like a bunch of kids who don't have parents because of all the duels, and that's why they robbed the bank. And they ask like regular.
So I really liked that because that made a ton of sense. It's like, well, if all these people are going to kill each other in duels, there's going to be all these children left with no parents, and that's a great reason for why they would be like robbing banks and like trying to help kids. Like that was awesome. I liked that twist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good twist. And then they ask regular Asuka and Yu if they'll like help them tomorrow rob another bank. And like they're like, no, we're not helping you rob a bank. But then like a third Yu appears and like sexually harasses like original Asuka and is like, come on,
Yeah, what was that?
One bank won't hurt. Like,
what was that with like the sexual harassment, like the weird like lifting her skirt up for the panty shot? That was so out of nowhere.
I'm
like,
telling you,
no idea.
Anytime that an Asuka and a Yu don't know each other, there is immediately sexual harassment between them somehow. One of them will sexually harass the other one. This is my theory.
Well, now I'm just waiting for Yu's arc because that's going to be interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And then I think personally that this third Yu that appears at the end is the cloaked girl who keeps sending them the frequencies. What do you guys think?
I thought so too. I got that sense like she had the same type of hair, like, and had the same type of personality as that fortune teller cloaked girl. So
Yeah, she was also taller too. So
Yeah.
matched up with her, yeah.
I'm with you on that, unless it's like a misdirection or something. But yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, this is the version of Red Dead Redemption 2 I always wanted, Leo.
Oh boy.
I don't want Arthur Morgan, grizzled, old Western gunslinger as my main character. I want Mia Silverstone as my main character. Moe Girl. Maybe when Red Dead comes to PC, there will be a mod for Girl in Twilight where you can play as Mia, and all of the people at your little camp are just like the Girl in Twilight girls in like Western outfits.
How much have you played so far?
I've played like 40 hours of the game, and I'm like probably a third of the way done with it.
Nice.
It's a long game.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, I like this episode. I like the Wild West backdrop for everything. I especially liked Mia's Wild West outfit. It looked super cute. I don't know about you.
Yeah. It's pretty neat. I'm ready for the next episode, really.
Yeah, speaking of super cute outfits. Made of human beings. Golden
Oh my
Kamuy, second
God.
season.
I was like, where is he going with this?
I know.
Okay, so episode 16, The Great Plan to Infiltrate the Asahikawa 7th Division. So Shirashi gets captured by the 7th Division, and Hijika decides that he and Kiro Ranke will go to Asahikawa. There's just too many freaking weird words in here to save Shinichi while the other two wait on the rest of the group to arrive.
Before you even said that, Leo, I was just laughing because I was like, oh my god, this is so many Japanese names in one sentence for Leo. This is going to be rough.
I did not mean to write that like that. So Genjiro and Inkamart find out where Sugimoto's group is and sets out for the town. We also learn Tokap means boobs.
Yep, apparently.
Yeah.
That little scene there was kind of funny because they saw like the bean cellar or whatever, and then he said city where they were going, and like
Something like Tokachi or something like that.
Yeah.
Something that sounded like Tokap.
That
and of course
boner
of all
kid.
people, it's Boner.
The boner kid is just obsessed with her fucking boobs. I'm like, just chill, dude. Like, I know
But she's
you're.
like happy about it. She's like
She doesn't
super
care.
fine
She doesn't
with it.
care.
I don't think she's
I
happy.
think she likes
she's
how
amused.
upset it makes the other dude.
She's like, tee hee hee hee. Like,
Yeah.
so.
So
Sugimoto, Serpa, and Tatsuma meet up with the ones waiting on them and find out what happened to Shirashi. Bleh. While the other two are trying to get ahead of the 7th Division, Hijikata reveals that he knows Kiro Ranke isn't a real Ainu. And he says something weird about what's the the real name of what is it? It's a Japanese ghost or something like that.
Japanese ghost.
It's a name or somebody in the show's name from it. I had to Google it because I couldn't figure out what character they were talking about. And instead, I got a ghost that like has no face or something like that.
Ooh, I don't remember this. Huh? I don't know. I don't know what you're referring to.
Because I couldn't really make sense of the whole scene. I was like, "What is he talking about?" I didn't even trying to search it. I couldn't figure it out. Shirashi, who is being escorted, sees like a bean cellar and rushes over to get some. And like, why the people escorting him allow him to do this is beyond me. What the hell?
Yeah.
No, you're under guard. You're not going anywhere they don't want you to.
That was weird. I agree.
Yeah, I was like, why would they let their captive, like, go by? I don't know. That was weird. Doesn't make sense.
Why would they let their captive go 15 feet away from them on his own?
Yeah.
You know, a guy named the Escape King.
Yeah. So the bean seller is actually Hijikata, and in the wrapping of at the bottom of the beans it says Kamuy Kotan Hanging Bridge. Apparently this river is like very dangerous, and there's like an urban legend that also goes with it, and it was kind of neat. It's about a possessed flying sword called an Ipatom that they could never like get rid of. Like they threw it in a coffin with rocks, and all it did was just like chew through the rocks and out through the coffin. It did a whole bunch of things, and what they did is they threw it into the swamps of the Kamuy Kotan, and it finally stayed buried away, which is awesome if the show had used this for like some psychological warfare on the 7th Division. Like, even Hijikata's like, oh, and I will be the blade. I'm like, oh, they're really gonna fuck with them. And then they don't. They don't.
Yeah, they kind of set it up like Hijikata's gonna do this badass thing on that bridge, and they kind of it's a misdirect for sure.
Yeah. So all he does is like they get on the bridge, he cuts the bridge, they all fall in, and it's up to what's his face is Kiro Ranke to get Shirashi, but he doesn't. And it fails kind of because Shirashi remembers about his dream and Sugimoto like stabbing him over and over and over, and then he just allows himself to get recaptured. So then it goes back to Sugimoto's group, and they reckon he's already made it to the 7th Division's HQ. And then there's this moment where everybody remembers Shirashi being stupid. He's like standing there with his thumbs up. He's like, gee.
Oh, they have like different poses for each person too.
Yes, it was amazing. So good.
Like,
the last one, like the Sugimoto one, was the best.
I know.
And it's funny because then they're all like, it's probably fine. He got captured.
Yeah, they're like, forget it.
But then Sugimoto, he's kind of against it. And then like Hijikata's like, yeah, he kind of does have his uses sometimes. So they're still going to go get him. So Tsurumi visits Nikaido in the infirmary. And this is just nothing but insanity from this point on. Where he's acting crazier than usual because is like taking extra doses of morphine and talking to his stupid ear chin.
Oh my god!
And then Tsurumi's talking to him like a dog. He's like tapping his wrist. He's like, "No."
Well, because he keeps taking like extra things of morphine, and the doctor's like, "He's gonna die," and like, fucking, he's like, "No," and he like holds out the thing of morphine. He's like, every time he tries to reach for it, he's like, "No, bad." No morphine for you. It's like, what the fuck, dude? He's not a dog.
Poor Nikaido.
I know.
He reacts like a dog.
It's insane.
And then, oh man, then we get to meet Narizo, who is, would one of you like to take a shot describing him?
He's like a crazy weapons designer from Japan, who's based off a real person, but they gave him a slightly different name from the real person. Like, I can tell you who this guy like is based off of. He's based off of this guy named Nariakira Arasaka, who is like an extremely famous Japanese weapons designer from that time period. Because, as they talk about in the show, he designed the Type 38 Arasaka rifle, along with this guy Kijiro Nambu. And they started using this rifle at the end of the Russo-Japanese War, but they used it like all the way through World War II. Like, it's extremely like common to see that on like Pacific Islands during the war. And so, yeah, like he's pretty legendary.
Huh.
But like, they made him like super goofy, Leo. Like in this show, like he's so goofy, and I think that's like, partially why they changed his
anymore,
name.
Because he keeps, having guns
working
like
with
shot
explosives.
near him.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, so the shit these two talk about is pure insanity. One of the stories I liked in particular is Tsurumi praising Narizo on his creation of the 28 centimeter howitzers that didn't discern from friend or foe and created beautiful showers of rain of blood that he got to wonderfully run through.
Yes.
I was like, I threw it in the chat, and I'm like, the shit I'm writing for this episode doesn't even make sense in context.
Well, and Tsurumi like says some weird shit that's like poetic, but also fucked up. Where he's like, beauty is the same as power, and like you think on that for a second, and you're like, and then he's like, and I thought that the showers of blood rain were beautiful as I danced through, and then you're like, what the fuck? like
Tsurumi, it's like a theme with him this season. Tsurumi is very good at flattering people who are involved in like very evil endeavors, but like don't want to think about it that way. Tsurumi is like very good at encouraging them to just keep going. Like everything you're doing is wonderful. I love you.
It must be the lack of his frontal lobes.
yes.
Tsurumi eventually asked Naruto to help a friend of his who got attacked by a bear. Basically, it's Naruto makes a prosthetic leg for Nikaido that can shoot 3 rounds worth of buckshot out of the bottom. Yep. Jesus, this show is just reaching new levels of sanity this episode. And there's also Bcom. I don't know what the lady walking into the room was even about at all.
That was so weird. I thought it might be
like,
that.
Meet my friend, and then this random person comes in, and then it's like, not her, this person. You're like, what the fuck?
He just like Tsurumi just shoves her out of the way, right? Like, who the hell are you?
But
like, I thought it might be the Master of Disguise from later in the episode, but I don't know why he would have been there. They don't talk about it.
Yeah, I did think that too, but I don't know either unless this is going to come up later somehow.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. So Hijikata introduces everybody to a man that was locked up with him that was a marriage fraudster, and also he has one of the tattoos on him also. They need him to get inside the HQ and find out where they are keeping Shirashai. They decide he will impersonate the warden of Abashiri. His name is Inudo. After they hear a dog, he's like, Inu?
Yeah.
So then Lanaga uses her mad skills and transforms him to look just like the dude. And then a serpent kind of falls asleep during all this, and like Hijikata, picks her up and puts her in her lap, and then that's when Sugimoto's like, "Oh shit, you're that guy from the Longhouse, and you probably Shirashi has probably been working for you the whole fucking time." And then they're like, "Sugimoto, are you going to kill him?" And then like it turns out a serpent woke up a little bit ago, and she's like, "Please don't kill somebody if it's unnecessary." So it's like, whoa.
Because like Sugimoto's like, if somebody betrays you, they'll betray you again and again, which is not, necessarily like the wrong thing to say. And the serpent's like, I don't want to kill him though. I don't want you to kill him.
They figure out which part of the base they need to infiltrate and who to meet with, and then they send in the marriage forger, and I'm pretty sure it's Sugimoto under that weird mask because you can see the scar across his lip.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, that's what it looked like to me. But like he says something like really weird. It's not even a word, I don't think. But so I don't know about you, Kat, but I'd be Inkamar's gigolo.
Yeah, I was like, why does he think that he's Inkamar's gigolo? Like that old guy. He's like, oh, you're a gigolo, and I'm like, how did you get that idea?
I guess ladies like Inkarmat just attract a certain type of man, I guess, usually. I don't know.
She's like, oh, of course she's a prostitute. I don't know. That's the only thing I could think. Maybe it's a lipstick.
Yeah. All right. I'm pretty much tapped out on that one. I'm ready to move on to Run with the Wind.
Yeah.
Run with the whining, as Leo says.
Well, with your whining, that is, Leo. You fucking baby.
Yeah, constant Leo
I was
whining.
actually waiting for you to say that, Kat.
Of course.
So, episode 4, Shadows That Don't Fade. So, this episode begins with a flashback of Kakeru running in his track meet when he was back in high school at Sendai Josei. And it turns out Kakeru has a friggin' terrible track coach. He's one of those guys who's like, I'm going to isolate the star of the team to get everybody else to like come up to his level. And it's like the worst strategy ever. It always backfires. Works.
It reminded me of the cheerleading anime that like we did an impression on. Like a similar thing happened.
Actually exactly the same, you're right.
Yeah. It was interesting. Yeah. Doesn't at one point he have all of the rest of them like run? But he doesn't have him run. Like that's just a recipe for disaster. It's terrible.
And if you're Kakeru in that situation, you go run with them. Like you can't let that happen. Like you have to just go run.
What cheerleading anime are you guys talking about?
Anima Yell from our impressions of this season.
Oh, because Kat said we reviewed it. I'm like, we reviewed a cheerleading anime?
Yes, we did.
When did we do that?
Yeah.
That anime is super cute
Was
and
it
really
that
fun.
bad I completely locked it out of my memory?
I think you just didn't like the cuteness of the girls. You're like, oh god,
it wasn't
I
like
didn't
that
watch anime,
remarkable, but it was fun. It was fun. There's also like a lesbian confession of the third episode of that show, which is pretty cool. Like something you don't see all the time. So
And Bcom was
Pretty cool.
on that like a hound on blood. He smelled it. He was like, yes, I have to keep watching this. He wanted to let us know.
Fight, win. So,
Anyway.
it's like, okay, one of the teammates from Kakeru's team back then, right? He's this dude with like lazy eyes named Kosuke Sakaki. And the guy who showed up he's the guy who showed up at the end of the last episode. And he snidely remarks on how lucky Kakeru is to have made some friends finally. And so Kakeru like squeezes his fists a little harder. Kakeru is always squeezing his fists. He's gonna have like high blood pressure one of these days. He's he needs to calm down.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so there's this brief scene where Kakeru gets lunch with Prince and his manga club friends at the cafeteria. And the only thing that really is important from this is that like they're like ousted from their table by a bunch of rugby guys, and Prince obviously like doesn't like this, and that'll come to play kind of later in the episode, I think. So then we get inside Kakeru's head a little bit, and it shows us that he hates the part of himself that stole bread from that convenience store. Like he's sort of thinking back on it, and he sees himself like doing it, and he's like trying to tell himself like, what are you doing? You're so pathetic. Why would you do this? And everybody around him he feels has been pushing and prodding him to run, and asking about his past has been weighing on him very heavily. And so he's like running at full speed, just trying to like get away from all these thoughts. And that's when he barrels like full on into Hanako, the girl. And so Hanako basically lets Kakeru know how excited Haiji is to be running with him. She's like cleaning like the bruise of her knee in this like nearby park from like a little fountain. And like she says that Haiji said God might actually exist after all, after meeting Kakeru, which I thought was interesting. It might give you a sense of like what Haiji's beliefs are. And Hanako just says all she knows is that Kakeru is really fast and he should just like get over himself. So Kakeru's like, I can't do anything but run. And Leo like probably cringed at that moment. But yeah, that's like kind of his insecurities coming out. He doesn't think he's good at anything except for running, and running is related to all this past trauma with him, and so that's why he feels like useless at the moment. So yeah, Haiji spots Kakeru in the park with Hanako and walks home with him, and Kakeru is like, Haiji, can you just give up on me? Like, I don't want to be part of this. Like, I can run alone, but I don't work well with others. And Haiji insists that even though Kakeru runs by himself, he's not alone. He's always running with someone else. And Kakeru doesn't understand what that's supposed to mean.
I don't understand what that's supposed to mean, because I was like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know.
The only indication I got was that Haiji glances up at the clouds before continuing to run home. And I'm thinking, is he implying that God is with you, or is he implying that like some other person is like looking down on you and you're running with them? I don't know. I'm sure we'll find out more. The show is called Run with the Wind. Maybe you're running with the wind, the god of the wind. I don't know.
Ooh,
we'll
I don't
see.
know. Yeah, it seemed very like touchy feely or whatever. I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yes. Yeah. We'll see. It's probably like some spirits of, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it's just God, like I said. I'm not sure. So the guys all go for another practice 5,000 meter run with Hanako timing them. Kakeru gets there first, and then Kosuke shows up again, his teammate from high school, just to like keep insulting him, apparently.
He's like, so I found this bitch. Yeah. I'm not going to let him go. Like, he's one of those people who just can't stop himself from harassing someone. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess he feels like he has unfinished business with him, because he gets angry with Kakeru, and Kosuke asks, like, are you going to hit me again? Clearly implying that things went down between them in the past. And so the rest of the guys finally finish, and Prince is the last one, and he's gotten his record down to under 35 minutes, so he's making progress, guys. He's gotten there.
More importantly, he's faster than the butterfly now.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yes.
What really made me laugh is like Haiji is encouraging Prince with manga like quotes and stuff from like his favorite anime or manga, and like who hasn't gotten inspired to work out by like an anime or a manga at some point? Like I know I have, so I thought that was hilarious.
That was good.
Yeah.
For guys, just go watch JoJo. You'll be like, I'm a fat piece of shit.
Yeah. So, like Haiji sees Kosuke and like goes over to him and finds out he's from Tokyo Sports University, where they're going to be running to set qualifying records at a track meet in 1 month. And so the rest of the guys try to stop Haiji, but he continues blurting out like, oh yeah, we're trying to qualify for the Hakone Ekiden. And Kosuke's just like, are you joking? Like
he's like, are you fucking with me or not?
And like he goes to Kakeru, is like, aren't you embarrassed to be running with guys at this level? And that's when Prince, who is face down in the grass, still like exhausted, has his big moment, because he's like, it's always about fucking levels with these people. And I think he's thinking back to like the rugby guys who like bully him as well. But he just says like how much he hates the people who criticize you and what you try to do. And he hates it more than he hates like running. And he hates running a lot, let's be honest. And he's not sure if any of these guys around him are his friends yet, but they accept him and they recognize his worth as a person. And that means so much to him that like he just can't stand these people talking about like, oh, you're not on my level. And yeah, I think the idea of like the characters who are still running despite their protests is that like actions speak louder than words in this show. And like, yeah, I think that's partially where Prince is coming from too. Like the law student who like is protesting that he doesn't want to run and all that stuff. Like, you're supposed to understand that they really want to push themselves. And like even Prince is inspired by this guy Haiji and like all the people around him. And they want to know that they can be part of something great, even if they won't admit it outwardly. And so you can see that finally coming to the surface with Prince, which was pretty cool. So what do you guys think?
And I also thought it was interesting how you see Kurihara get angry that his friends are being insulted, because you see that like they're starting to mean something to him. Like,
oh,
you know?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool.
Yeah, everything else I already said. So,
yeah.
To quote Cheryl Tuns from Archer, this is so boring and forever taking.
You're just being a little bitch, Leo. Fuck off.
I mean, they're just like setting up the characters and stuff. Like, I don't know what you want to be happening at this moment in the show. Like, what you want them to be like already in the race or something? Like, I don't understand.
I want them to be a different show.
You just want to be annoying, is what you want to be. That's
yeah,
okay.
pretty much.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I'm honestly just fucking bored out of my mind watching this show and watching something that I find boring. It just like makes you angry.
Well, yeah, I understand that. Like, you know,
well, listening to
Draku
you whine makes
boring.
me angry.
All right, let's take a break and hear from some commercials from our buddies.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, we'll be back.
Hey, do you like wrestling?
Whether it be in a bar, an arena, some weird place in Asia, or in a stadium?
Or the occasional penis plex?
Well, if any of these things might tickle your fancy, anywhere in between, from penises to wrestling, you can come and check out our podcast.
Our podcast name is Smack It Down. We talk all things WWE, New Japan, anything else in between.
I'm Jay Silver.
I'm Corey Gold.
And we look forward to you joining us.
Happy Rusev Day.
Happy Rusev Day indeed.
Warning, the following clip may contain descriptions of explicit behavior conducted by Bishi boys.
Now, that's not to say he didn't get physical. Quite the opposite, in fact. Our boy Kent was researching all the ways to please a woman.
Pulled his lever.
And he put some of that learning into effect, if you know what I mean. Let me give you a scene from the show that I really quite liked. My research shows that women find it pleasurable if men place their fingers here, then apply some pressure and begin to rub that area. Do you enjoy that? Is it giving you pleasure? Please respond. I need verbal. Please respond. I gotta get this out. Get it out. Please respond. I need verbal confirmation that this is something that you enjoy. Heroine Sadie tells him that it's hurting her as he's rubbing her too vigorously. Ow. Despondent Ken removes his fingers and looks at them. Perhaps I applied too much pressure. Don't worry, Kent. Head pats are difficult to master.
And that was Yata from the Reanimator Pod. If you want to hear more, you can check out our website. That's reanimatorpod.com. We release new episodes every Monday.
Don't drop that. Hey, don't drop that.
And here's another tasty morsel from the Trash Pandas Watch Anime podcast.
Some fan service.
Yeah. I mean, it worked pretty well in Dragon Ball. Do you remember those scenes with Bulma?
Bulma was running around in a bunny outfit for the longest time.
I know. Akira Toriyama.
We can get the Dragon Balls, and then we can make our wish. Bulma's panties.
Did Oolong wish for Bulma's panties, or did you just wish for a pair of panties?
I think it was just a pair of panties. I'm sure it's different in the Japanese than it is in the English dub. But yeah, he just wished for panties. They're probably used.
As always, you can find us on Facebook and on Twitter at Trash Panda Anime. You can find us on our website, tpwapodcast.com. You can also find us on assorted sites like SoundCloud, Stitcher, and iTunes.
And we're back.
Woo!
Yes.
Okay.
Kat, take us away, please.
All right. So next we've got Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai, which the name is too damn long. They just should have called it like Bunny Girl Senpai. I don't fucking know. They should have called it something else.
He also totally dreams about her.
I was going to say, I feel like he totally does dream about her.
It's a dumb name. I don't know. So anyway, at the beginning of this episode, like they make this big hullabaloo about the national team, the Japanese national soccer team, like winning a game in the World Cup. And I was thinking like, how, I don't feel like Japan got very far in that. So I don't know what imaginary victory they're imagining.
I think they were at least in it. I can't remember how well they did in the last World Cup, if they actually won a game or not.
I mean, I know that they were in it, but I don't think they got very far.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, but good on the Japanese. They wanted to insert that since the World Cup was recently. They managed
it looks
to.
like they won their first game, tied their second, and lost their third.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels right.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so that day at lunch, Mai makes Sakuta a box lunch because apparently he joked at some point like, Mai, can you even cook? And so like she does it to prove that she can cook, which in some weird attempt to prove her suitableness as a wife, as every girl in Japan must do, I guess.
They must be able to provide food for their husbands.
Yeah, no.
In the
like,
form of a bento box.
Girl, you do not have to cook. He can cook too. Make him work for it. Anyway. Sakuta apologizes. He repeats that he loves her and like wants her to go out with him. Mai says that after hearing it every day for a month, it doesn't excite her anymore, and so she has no reaction.
But she asked for that.
I know! She's like, the thing that I wanted wasn't actually the thing that I wanted. This is often a problem with women sometimes.
She didn't technically ask for it, though. She technically asked, like, tell me again in a month. And he's like, I can't wait that long. Can I tell you every day? Which is romantic, but also it's funny that now that he's told her every day, she's like, this has gotten really boring and I'm kind of over it.
Oh, boy.
But yeah, Mai tells Sakuta that she got a part in a drama with a kissing scene. She says it isn't her first time kissing someone, so it's fine, and explains that while Sakuta couldn't see her, she thought that maybe if she kissed him, he would remember. And of course, he doesn't remember her kissing him. So she's like, oh, maybe I can do it again. But then, like, has him kiss an egg roll instead, which is silly and dumb.
That's cute.
Whatever.
I mean, yeah, it's whatever. Sakuta says he may, like, fall out of love with her since Maya keeps rejecting him. And Maya gets all embarrassed and agrees to go out with him. And it's cute. But then...
It was very daring, very blushy. It was very cute.
Yeah, it was adorable. But then, like, the next day, Sakuta wakes up and like June 27th is repeating again. So like all that effort was for nothing. Sakuta's
We Endless Eight, boys!
pretty much.
Haruhi's back, season 3 of Haruhi.
Oh,
Woo!
shit. But yeah, Sakuta does everything the same, and he notices there's like another couple where the guy asked the girl out on the same day, but he's just like, well, hopefully this will like not happen again. And I thought that was kind of a funny way to approach it. Like, well, maybe this will just go away on its own. I'll just ignore it the first time. And so the second time that the day repeats, Sakuta's like, all right, it's time for me to do something. So he consults Futaba, and she thinks that rather than him going back in time over and over like he feels like he's doing, he's most likely watching the future from an earlier point in time and is in some sort of like simulation with someone else who is using it to like to pick the best route, basically.
Yep.
And she calls this LaPlace's demon theory.
So I can explain this.
Okay, go ahead.
If you want. So LaPlace was this French physics and engineering scholar who came up with lots of like interesting ideas in physics, but this was like more of like a philosophical idea that he had. Laplace's demon. Like if we understand like the position and like the current momentum of every single atom that exists in the universe, then we could calculate like where those atoms have come from because we know their momentum and their position. And because of like the classical mechanics of physics, you can determine where they were and where they're going next and what atom is going to hit them and like how that's all going to play out. The thing is, you would need to have ridiculous amounts of computational power to be able to do that. And there's nothing we know in existence that could do that. So he's like, oh, what if there was just this demon who had this power, just like this imaginary being who could do this, and if they could predict the future and see the past with like perfect accuracy. But yeah, so like that's kind of what they're making out this new girl to be, Tomoe. So yeah.
Yeah. So like the idea is
cool
that like the person who is doing this is using the simulation that they have created to calculate what they should do to get the result that they want. So Sakuta needs to look for who is acting differently so that he can tell who it is who's making the simulation. So, but I have an issue with this because it's like, why would he be the only one to notice being in the simulation? Like, why is he trapped and aware specifically? It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. They need to explain better.
Because he is protagonist-kun. He is MC-kun.
They better have an explanation.
He is also a demon.
Eventually. That's all I'm saying.
You didn't question it when you singled out for Mai's case?
Well, I did, but like I figured maybe it's because he's like particularly obsessed with her. But like now that it's two, like they better quickly come up with a reason. Otherwise, it's going to get annoying. So that's all I'm saying.
That's true.
He's just the main character.
Well, there has to be something else other than that. They'll come up with something. I hope anyway. So they find out that Koga, a girl in his class, is the one doing it, but she doesn't really know that she's doing it. She has like an adorable country accent. I don't know if you noticed that. It's cute.
Oh yeah, it's very cute. And now Toyama is voicing her, and she does the best cute voices. So yes.
You would know that. Okay.
He would know the lolly voices.
Yeah. So
she also sings the ED for the episode. Like, so it's the same song, but it's sung by Nao Toyama instead of the other voice actress. And Nao Toyama is so good. She's so cute. Oh my god. Anyway.
Now that Bcom has like had a weird orgasm over how cute she is.
Squeeze!
Okay. Sakuta asks if anything traumatizing has happened recently to Koga, but like all she can say is that she gained some weight recently. And he's like, oh, it's fine because your chest needs some meat. And I'm like, dude, that's shitty. That's fucking shitty as fuck.
It was a funny way to put it. He's like, you're on the slimmer side, but like your chest could use some meat. And I was like, wow, that's okay there. Let's calm down, Sakuta.
Yeah, no. And then the red-haired guy comes in who like asked her out the other day. And Sakuta and Koga hide under the podium in the classroom. And like this is clearly what Koga is avoiding, or rather like who she's avoiding. It's this guy named like Maezawa. And it's Koga's Koga's best friend Rina has a crush on Maezawa. So she's in this situation where, like, she doesn't like him, but he wants to ask her out, and she knows this. But, like, if she says no, the entire class will hate her because he's really popular. But if she says yes, her friend will be upset with her. And so she can't do either thing. And so she's fucked, basically.
Yeah.
So Koga gets upset and knocks the podium over that they are hiding under. It ends up, like, on top of Sakuta on accident. And then, like, Maezawa comes back in because he hears this loud noise and sees them. And he says, so this is what you had to do. You have poor taste in guys. Which I took this, like, two ways. So the first way I took it is that he might be referring to her text saying she was busy. But he might also have known that she didn't want to go out with him and was avoiding him. And, like, means this is what she did to get out of it. Which means he knew that he was pressuring her. But I think the second one is more likely because, like, it's so obvious that she doesn't like him. Like, her body language, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
I don't know, but maybe he is clueless. I don't know. But it could be either way.
For all we know, this is the first time he's ever asked her. He gets to at least ask her once. And, like, she's so distraught
but if a girl
by
is constantly trying to avoid you and, like, looks uncomfortable every time you're near her, like, you kind of get the idea that she probably
we don't know if that ever happened.
But we kind of do, because she says, like, I keep giving him, like, hints and stuff, and he doesn't get the hint.
Yeah, but is she talking about the repeating days? So that's not going to work on him.
No, she's talking about, like, when she and Rina, her friend, and Maezawa were hanging out together. I don't know, but it's whatever. This is just me thinking, like, of my experiences with this sort of shit. But who knows? It could be either way. And of course, Mai comes in and sees this too. And is like, don't speak to me. And Sakuta is kind of like, well, this will fix itself because the world will repeat again. And, like, I'll fix it tomorrow. But of course, then it doesn't repeat. And then he's fucked.
Poor guy.
Yeah. So then, like, he comes to school the next day and he's like, well, shit. And, like, he goes to Futaba and asks her, like, what should I do? But Futaba is, like, upset and pissed off too that day because she apparently ran into some guy called Kunimi on the Kunami. I don't know how to say his fucking name on the train. Yeah, and, like, he apparently, he apparently, like, has a girlfriend, but Futaba's in love with him, and so she just gets, like, pissed off when she sees him because she's like, "Fuck," which yeah. Futaba is like, I don't know. Like, okay, Sakuta first of all tells Futaba she should confess to him. I disagree with this. If someone you know is dating someone, it's never a good idea to be like, oh, by the way, I'm in love with you. Because that's just weird. Don't do that. I don't know. But anyway, back to the main plot. I'm sure this will become relevant, though, like, later. I'm sure this is going to come up again. So anyway, Futaba tells Sakuta that she thinks eventually Maezawa will figure out that Koga and him are not dating because Sakuta just asked out Mai in front of everyone last month. So, like, he's gonna figure it out, and then at that point everything will go back to the 27th again, so he shouldn't worry too much about it. That day at work, though, Sakuta finds out that Koga has gotten a job at the same place he works so that she can work near him. And Koga's friends come to the restaurant where they now both work to ask if Sakuta is serious about Koga because, like, they know about the rumor between him and Mai, and they're, like, worried that he's jumping from one girl to the other. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, how sad, I don't know. How sad is it that Koga is, like, so willing to do anything possible to get out of this mess? I don't know.
Yeah.
Later, when they're both walking home, she, like, begs Sakuta. She's like, please let me pretend to date you. Like, I have these friends. I don't want to lose these friends. Like, it's not even that I mind being alone. It's that being alone is embarrassing. And Sakuta at that point remembers his sister saying something very similar when she was getting bullied and like how much that really hurt her. Just the embarrassment aspect of it, and like reluctantly agrees to pretend to be with Koga. And Koga's like, all right, we're going to go on a date and I'm going to take pictures for evidence.
Oh man, it's a dumb setup, but I at least understand it. It's not crazy. Obviously, it's so the main character can have another girlfriend at the same time, but like whatever.
How's he going to explain this to Mai though?
Well, okay, so at the end of the episode, Mai comes over and she like angrily asks why Sakuja hasn't come to explain himself yet. Like, I think that's adorable. I guess we're about to see.
It was pretty adorable.
Like, what's going to happen there? Yeah.
she's pretty upset. Like, and she's right to be upset. Like, he should have like at least called her, if not come over. Like, if he really cares.
Mm-hmm.
But he was too busy with his other new girlfriends. As he continues to build his harem. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, if the first arc of this show was like, basically Senjogahara from Bakemonogatari, like, this is like the Haruhi Suzumiya arc. And so it's like all the best hits from all of the famous light novel anime. I'm like curious to see if this like is a running theme and like the next couple girls in this show are going to have like parallels to other famous light novel anime.
Oh, you're just waiting on the sister episode. We know it.
Oh, well, you know what? Like, if I know anime, the sister episode is going to be like on the Blu-ray. It's going to be an extra OVA.
Bcom is waiting for the toothbrush equivalent scene, everyone.
Oh boy. If they do that, man, that would be... I don't know if they could get away with that one.
I mean, somehow Bakemonogatari got away with it. I don't know how the fuck they got away with it, but they did. Oh man,
it was pretty fantastic. Yeah.
Yep.
All right,
Jesus. Anyway,
all right, let's move on.
Yes,
Banana Fish.
Woo. Episode 16. How do you say that? Lo,
the poor peacock.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
I know. With you guys, I can't pronounce anything wrong, or I get the beating. So
the beating,
the verbal beating.
You love it.
The whip comes out.
So Ash makes his escape and like starts crawling through some of the ductwork, and it like he makes it to a medical supply room. It seems, but like an infrared sensor caught him in the ductwork, and the guards have now been alerted, so they're all out running looking for him. The doctor then gets notified while he's entertaining Dino and the Baron, the guy who's his replacement. The Baron's like, he's just a kid, and what's the big deal? And I just laughed because Dino's sitting on a couch and he's just thinking to himself like, you guys have no idea what you're fucking in for.
Yeah.
You guys are so fucking screwed. Don't underestimate him. His smugness through this whole episode was very entertaining to me.
Yeah.
So using the key card he got from that from the security guard, he hacks into a computer for like the schematics of the buildings, trying to figure out the way to get out. And then like a guard runs up behind him, but they're under the orders to only use tranquilizers right now. So like Ash turns around and like shoots the guard. He kills like 8 guards this episode, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the gunfire sets off the alarm, and then like Max and Shunichi use it to get away from the tour group so they can do their own looking around stuff. But their absence is like noticed very quickly. It's a very tight run place. So Ash first, he goes and gets Professor Dawson, and then he continues to escape, and like whole blocks of the building are like starting to go in lockdown with like these large metal shutters and everything. And at one point, Ash and the professor end up on like the top of an elevator trying to avoid the security. And then like I'm going to call them the middle-aged duo. They show up to use the elevator after the security's left. But then like another security guard shows up. They end up in a scuffle and end up hitting like the emergency stop button. And then that alerts the security center that something is going on there. And then like the elevator is going up and down. And then just like at one point, Ash is hanging onto the edge of the elevator as the professor is holding onto his ankles, and they're just dangling in the air. Then in like a feat of strength only a mother can use to pick up a car off her baby.
Right?
Ash,
so ridiculous.
Ash hangs with one hand from the elevator, grabs the professor's wrist, and curls this old man high enough to grab onto the ledge. I was like, no.
No, okay.
I was like,
this was not like
All right,
a
Kat, you go
mother.
first.
This was not like a mother's feat of strength. This was like a circus performance. Like, he lifts this dude up high enough with his leg, then grabs him with his arm and like lifts him above his head with one arm. That's fucking insane. That's insane.
Leo, as a rock climber, have you ever seen the movie Cliffhanger with Sylvester Stallone?
Fucking ages ago, but
you should definitely watch it again now that you're like really into rock climbing. But
need
like,
to.
I would believe it if he did this. But like Ash is like so scrawny and wiry. Like, it's so ridiculous that he did this.
It is ridiculous. The whole episode, Ash is just throwing this dude around like he's like a piece of corn, like a sack of corn or something. Like, there's a point where like like one of those security like walls is coming down, and he just like picks the dude up by like the back and just like throws him face first. And he just lands like on his face. I'm surprised this dude didn't like bite his tongue off at that point. Then at another point, he just goes duck, and then the guy doesn't duck and like just gets fucked over in the face again. I'm surprised. He's lucky this dude already has brain damage, because he'd have brain damage by the end of this.
Yeah, Professor Dawson gets the shit beat out of him by the time this is done and over with. The only thing I can think of is, along with Ash's like crazy high IQ, then like he has like some like extra advanced adrenal glands or something. That's the only way I can explain it. So then they just go like back to control center, and Dino starts laughing as the situation continues to get worse. And then like the Baron's trying to regain control, so he ends up issuing just basically a shoot on sight. And then Ash eventually manages to get outside by using a garbage chute. And that's with the scene where he's like climbing down it, and Max throws a security guard down the chute and hits him.
Can I be really nitpicky for a second? The stupid Amazon subs said like dust chute, but they spelled the word shoot SHOOT. And I was just like, Amazon, please go to a dictionary or something. God damn it. It's CHUTE shoot. Oh god. The Amazon subs. Ugh.
Yeah, but Ash like finds a hatch on the side and he manages to get out. And then that's when he sees the middle-aged duo has gotten caught. And he's like, he doesn't want to help him, but then he's just like, shit, I gotta help him. They end up getting interrogated, and the doctor can tell Max is lying about getting lost and that they had nothing to do with Ash's escape. He lists his huge PhD of psychopathology, monology, whatever. The doctor tells the Baron this, and he just orders that the entire like North Ward gets locked down and that they should be shot on sight, but they're outside the building at this point. So that does nothing. A security guard goes to retrieve the middle-aged duo when Ash smashes him on like the back of the head, and the three make their escape. It's kind of funny. They then have to,
I love this part.
They then like some security guards come in, so they find like a closet, so they just get in real quick, and they get in there, and then they're all have their backs to the door, and they just see like this nurse and this doctor just like getting it on, and they're just like,
Barbara.
They're just staring at him like, what the fuck? But Max gets a great idea. They end up stealing their clothes. Max takes the doctor's uniform, and Ash takes the nurse's uniform, and they made him...
Because of course he does.
And they made him some
knew they were going to do that at some point.
I knew they were going to... I wanted to see what he stuffed his chest with, because he had like big boobs. I don't know what he did.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And then they have Shinichi like on a gurney, but like a cloth over him, sort of just wheeling him away. And they get to this elevator, and just before the doors close, this doctor shows up, and he gets in, and he's like, "Whoa, man, hard day, guys." And then he's starting to check out Ash, and he's like, "Oh, wow, ooh, you're tall, and your voice is kind of husky." And Ash is like, "I have a cold." And he's like, "Oh, I'm a doctor. Let me help you." And just sexually harasses the shit out of him until Ash.
Yeah, this fucking doctor is like, "Oh, let me get up in there."
Yeah.
Well, what is this? Oh, it's originally supposed to be set in like the 1980s, right?
Well, or 70s originally, but now it's in like the 90s, 2000s or something in the anime, something like that. Yeah.
Still not good enough.
And Ash gets, I like how Ash got really upset. He's like, "This is sexual harassment." It's like, this is Ash saying this, but like, I think he's role playing as like the nurse, and he's like, this is not okay for this nurse.
Like he's so caught up in playing the nurse.
Yeah.
Well, so they end up retrieving the professor and they escape using an ambulance. And then like Ash eventually parts ways with them to find Eiji, who has gone missing, and that's like the big ending. But there's also a scene where they go back to the control room and the Baron's like losing his cool and he's blaming Dino and all this shit. And then Dino just gets up and he like shoots the Baron, and he's like, he claims like, I'm the only one who can bring Ash down. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's like obsessed. Like, he's just obsessed with Ash and doesn't want anybody else to have anything to do with the outcome of his destiny, you know? Like, he's like, I made him. I will destroy him.
Yeah, and as high tension as this episode was, there was a couple funny moments, like legit funny moments.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Barbara found herself a wonderful doctor. Like, she, you know, Barbara had been like working on this doctor for like months, you know, like she'd been like winking at him in the hallway. Like she'd been making his like, you know, reports out real nice.
It was funny.
Oh, yeah.
I glanced over the notes and I'm like, who the fuck is Barbara? So when I got to that scene, I was just like, hand over the eyes, just like, what the fuck?
Poor Barbara.
Yeah, poor Barbara. I mean, she
work
did
ruined.
get it. I don't know if she got the finish, but
Now she has a fun story to tell. They'll talk about it at their wedding. Don't worry.
Oh, God.
they'll have the best story for every party.
Yeah. All right, Leo, you got the next one.
So now we got Zombieland Saga, episode 4, Warming Dead Saga. So everybody knows I wasn't too happy with the last episode, but it won me back. So the show gets right back at it and has me laughing when the manager makes fun of the name they have chosen for themselves. He's just going front choo-choo. He's sitting there, you go front choo-choo. It's like right in
Mamoru Miyano is just like a gift. I love him so much. She's so
He
good.
is amazing.
Dude, I was like this. The manager and the cop, whenever they're on screen, it's just hilarity ensues. So they have run out of cash. So he has booked them for like a pharmaceutical company that's having a retreat at a hot spring.
Okay, wait, but like the reason they're able to book this is because the other group can't make it mysteriously. And I just was thinking, like, what did the manager do to this other group?
That is a good point. That is a very good point.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so manager also forbids them from getting into the hot spring because they can't leave the rooms without their makeup on. And like Saki ends up punching him in the gut because he's just like really rubbing it in their face. And she's like, bam, right in the gut. And he like drops to the ground and whatnot. So the next day, the manager drops them off for practice and goes sightseeing. And the girls decide to go sightseeing themselves because, you know, fuck the manager. And like you just kind of get a montage of them walking around. They're like looking in windows at one point at all these suites and crazy stuff like that. And then also while the manager's meeting with
I was gonna say, like, I was looking up like what you can do in Urushinu, like, because they're like, we're gonna go tourist, you know, do the tourist thing, and like the only thing around there is just a bunch of hot springs. So like, I don't really know what they're gonna do. Just go from hot spring and like shrine to shrine, I guess.
Go from hot spring to hot spring. I could do that.
I mean, I could do that. I would love that. I'm just saying, for zombies that can't go in a hot spring, I don't know how fun it's going to be for them. So
I'd say that third hot spring probably had the best ping pong table. So like the manager's meeting with the boss from the pharmaceutical company. And like he's talking to her, and he's like, "Oh, you'll love these girls. They're practicing so hard right now." And as he sees them walking by the window, and he's just stunned. But then the girls like end up at a foot bath, and I'm like, "Man, I wish foot baths were a thing here." And then
foot baths, yeah, that'd be nice.
They look awesome. And then this is kind of cool because they start questioning, you know, who this manager actually is. They're like, Number one, he was able to turn them into zombies. So how does he know to do that? Bleh. Number two, how in the hell did he get their bodies since Japan cremates all their dead? So they're just like, man, he's shady. We're like, you just now thought that?
Yeah. Well, also, I don't know why the fuck the manager is so obsessed with revitalizing Saga. Like, there has to be something there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what his motive is or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's might be a way bigger picture than we can see.
And all these zombie girls are like sewn back together. Like you can see it in their character design. Like he did some work on these girls. I don't know. It's weird.
And then they all also finally decide they are going to give this idol thing an honest try. And even Ai is on board. And you guys have no idea how happy this makes me to get this stupid drama out of the fucking way and just focus on the idling shit. Like I'm tired of Ai moping.
I don't want them to focus on the idling shit. I want like the zombie shit. That's what I want. I want the crazy
zombie antics that come with trying to be idols and all that fun stuff. But like, I was tired of Ai moping. I hate whiny characters, and I was tired of Junko moping. I mean, stop it. So that's done and out of the way. I'm so happy. You see why I don't like sports dramas?
Yes.
We don't need to get into that again today.
And the girls do their show, and they use these what are basically icy hot patches on the people in the crowd and like relaxes them. But there was also an earlier scene where like they were experimenting with them and they were putting them on each other, and like because they're zombies, it like works like super quickly, almost instantly. And they're like, oh, we're all sore.
But the reason they're using the icy hot patches is like that's what the company that they're trying to entertain sells. So like they decide to incorporate them into their act. So like the company people feel included, I guess.
I also lolled at like the fan servicey moaning as the girls like slapped that stuff on each other. They're like, oh, it was pretty funny.
Yeah. So later on, Saki is convincing Sakura to go into the hot springs since it's late and nobody will be there. And like Junko's overhearing this and she ends up going with them. And then while they're in the bath, like the lady from the pharmaceutical company, she's like the boss, whoever, this is who the manager met with earlier, comes out to the bath and like the girls are hiding and they decide to like go under the water by holding their breaths. But then like Sakura just like fucks up and accidentally takes her own head off. And like when the manager's like, what's that splash? She like finds her floating zombie head, and then like Saki and Junko pop out of the fucking water, and she's like freaking out, and she's like running, and it's just her running through the halls, running to all the other zombie girls who are like, what's all this noise about?
And the lights are like flickering. It's like a horror movie.
It's not helping. Yeah. And then like the next morning, the boss lady has like a total mental breakdown, forgets everything. So she was supposed to have a deal with the manager, but since she can't remember, it's not going to happen. And then, like I said, the girls also figured out like because then in the when they're in the hot spring, like it's supposed to make your skin extra smooth, and it like works like almost instantly on Sakura. So like, other things could come into play like medicines and such. So it'll be neat to see what they keep doing with this. I think it's great. I know the next episode involves chicken costumes.
Nice.
All I'm saying, okay, I want to say one more thing though. Zombies in a hot spring is so unsanitary. Like, just think about like dead bodies just marinating in the water, and then like someone else is going to dunk in there.
It's even
all that
worse.
Funk. Oh god, that's terrible.
Yeah, that would be pretty disgusting.
Yep.
There's one thing I forgot about from the very beginning of the episode that made me laugh. It's like Kotaro, the manager, asked all the girls, like, what should we do next? And Sakura's like, well, we could like record our song on a CD. And then he's just like, yeah, that's a pretty good idea. I'll just call up a recording studio. You dumbass, we don't have any fucking money. I just like how he's like, oh yeah, such a great idea. No, you idiot. And the only other thing that's like I keep noticing about him is he always has like a little squid sticking out of his pocket, but like the little legs look like McDonald's French fries to me because he wears his red vest, so it just looks like a little container of McDonald's French fries always sticking out of his chest, and it makes me laugh. I like it.
Okay. Well, I mean, other than they have the little the folded like what is it, bandana or kerchief or something right there, but instead he's just got the dried squid.
It's his little pocket square, yeah.
So he can keep Yamada Tai under control. Who still cracks me up.
Oh, yeah. I love her. She's great. I think, so people have been predicting, like, will she ever turn back from Azabi? I think she will, maybe briefly near the end of the show. Do you guys think she will? I think we're going to get, like, some reveal of her personality at some point.
Well, yeah, I think
maybe.
so. Well, okay, here. I'm almost, she's going to, if it's only temporarily, it almost has to happen. What's interesting, though, is when they started, the show aired, for like 2 episodes, they didn't have a voice actor. But then, they got one, and it's Koto Mitsuishi. That's the voice of Sailor Moon.
Oh, okay.
So,
wow, that's cool.
Yeah, we gotta, so, I mean, you're not going to hire such a big voice actor and just have her going, the whole fucking time, right?
Yeah.
So, like,
that'd be pretty ridiculous.
Well, I don't know. I mean, but like
something.
The person who voiced Sailor Moon, like, how old are they at this point? Maybe it's like their retirement gig. Like, they don't want to make serious gigs
birthday
anymore.
Is December 8th, 1967.
So
she's 50 something.
50? Yeah.
Yeah, she's 51. Like, yeah, 51.
She can still do voice acting.
Yeah, she can still do plenty.
She can still sing. Yeah, she can swing it.
But anyway, yeah. We'll see, I guess.
All right. I need to hear about this next episode, Kat. Let me get at it.
Okay, so we got Karakuri Circus.
I warned you about the physics going into the second episode. It doesn't make sense.
So Asahana is shocked as this boy like falls out of the sky at the beginning of this episode, which is called Swirling Tiger. And he has like so much determination, and like he's shocked that this boy has like overwhelmed him, a famous Kuroga puppeteer. And at first he's like, I'm not going to work for Masaru because we have a strict code of conduct, and like I was hired by this group, so I'm not going to change my allegiance. But Masaru has him read the book that he found where Masaru's dad admits that they were using like Masaru and the Kuroga as lab rats to make stronger puppets, and want like the Kuroga to kill each other off now that they don't need them anymore. And like Asahana is like, well, maybe we can't change our mind then.
Yeah.
But personally, I felt like they probably should at least know the first part, since it's kind of obvious, like that they're using. Like, I'm like, well, duh. But like the second part, I guess, could change things. But I'm kind of like, it's not that far of a stretch either. I don't know. Meanwhile, Shirogane and Narumi are trying to find Masaru, and the uncle's puppeteer guy named like Yamanaka finds them first. And Masaru like goes to the uncle hoping to stop like all the fighting between the Kuroga clan, only to find that the uncle is like, haha, I have Shirogane and Narumi hostage, and he's like has them on a TV screen, and he's like, you know what you have to do, Masaru. And he like wants him to let him be adopted so that he can get Masaru's money, basically.
Yeah.
And Masaru kind of reverts back to being like the meek boy version of himself at this point. And like all that determination is gone, and he's like, okay, just don't hurt them. But then Asahana points out, well, but he does. And then Asahana points out, like, well, but like the uncle's never gonna let them go because they've seen all this shit, and you're just being tricked. And like then the uncle just is like, yeah, that's true, I'm just gonna kill them. And I'm like, why would you say that? What?
Like, I'm thinking of making them jump off the balcony, you know?
I know. He just like says it so casually, like, yeah, I was just fucking with you. I'm gonna kill them anyway. I'm like, why would you even open your mouth? Shut your damn face, you idiot. Like, be a decent villain. I don't know. That was dumb. So Masaru gets pissed and is like, oh, and attacks the uncle. And he like fucks up his leg, like hardcore. And like it bends the wrong way. And I'm like, yeah, Masaru, get him. Like, get in there.
And yeah, you're starting to get the sense that, because like when he does that, it's a move that he saw from Narumi. And you're starting to get the sense that like Masaru can like copy stuff that he sees really well. Like he's pretty good at picking things up that he sees.
Yeah, because he did he picked up the puppeteering from Shirogane like very quickly.
I mean, but it's kind of bullshit how fast he picks things up. You have to admit. Like, I've swallowed like a lot of I've swallowed a lot of shit from shonen before that like is not possible. So I'll let it slide, but like we all know it's bullshit, right?
It's bullshit, but he has shonen protagonist powers, so it's okay.
Right.
Yeah. But by the way, at this point, like Shiragane's outfit is just so like artfully torn, like so strategic. Like, ooh. Yeah, that's dumb. Shirogane talks about like she's in that cage with Narumi while this is all going down, and she's like, I used to be locked up as a child. Like, just like this, while someone outside the cell worked on a puppet, and I have a terrible phobia, ooh. And Narumi's like, I'll protect you from your terrible phobia, and like grabs her. And he's like, I'm here for you, and like tells her to smile. And Narumi's like, oh, Masuru's grandfather did the same thing long ago. And it was all dumb and
I love
predictable.
That. I did like that line where she was like his words to me as like a young girl. And this guy is named I think Shoji Saga. Like his words to her like warmed her up, but like Narumi's arm is even warmer than that. It was very cute.
It's corny as all fuck, Bcom.
It is.
Anyway, I did like that he basically tells Shirogane to protect Masaru because he thinks that it will be good for Shirogane and it'll make her happy. It's not because, like, you've thought this whole time that, like, the reason he told her to take care of Masaru is, like, for Masaru's sake. But you find out that just like Narumi, Shirogane is taking care of Masaru for her own reasons, just like Narumi is doing it for himself. And I don't know why the show chooses to highlight that. It's an interesting choice, but I like it. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, so I don't know. At this point, Masaru is like, we need to get to the cell and let these two out. And he's like, Asahana, like, we're gonna jump onto this building with your puppet. We're gonna make it. And Asahana's like, I don't think we're gonna make it. And Masuru's like, shut up, we're gonna do it. And like, they get halfway there.
He's like, I calculated it out.
Yeah, I'm like, no, you didn't, you dumbass. Anyway, but like, you know he did. I don't know, he's a kid. But so they get almost there, and then they almost are gonna make it, and Masaru helps him. And it's like surprising, but like, you know, shonen powers, whatever.
Yeah, he takes control of the puppet's like neck and moves it so that like propels them up again.
Yeah.
And Ashihana's like, how'd you do that? And he's like, I figured it out. Like, I saw you do it. And so I know now how to do it.
Yeah. But then once they make the joke, Asahana is like, oh, I'm so fucked up from this fall. And then like faints or something. And I'm like, what? He doesn't even look fucked up at all. Like, what is this? I don't know. It was dumb. But, you know, Masaru is still cool. And so he's like, gets there, and Yamanaka is like, I'm gonna cut your arm off, you little boy. And Shirogane is like, no! And like protects him. And then Narumi protects both of them. And his arm is so strong, it like shatters the puppet that Yamanaka
That was a power
has.
move.
Yeah,
He like
that was
flexes
impressive.
his forearm.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, son.
But yeah, Yamanaka comments that Narumi's powers are enhanced with spiritual force. And like Narumi says it's Qui-Gong, which is interesting. And at this point, Narumi just whoops like a bunch of these puppet dudes. He's like, I got this. But eventually he does get tied up. Shirogane gets out Arlequin, and she's like, I'm gonna do this too. But she's injured, and so she can't do it. Narumi basically tells Masaru to run because he's like, well, we're fucked now. But then Masaru doesn't run, and he takes over Arlequin instead. And even if he's not great with it, he does manage to like kill the opposing puppet, which is impressive.
He knows at least one move, and that's that spinning move.
Les Monsieur.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he does something. But then a bomb goes off, which, when was there a bomb? Like, what? I did not realize that.
In last episode, they were shown setting up the bombs.
Yeah, they were setting up like timed bombs.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know, because I was like, okay, now there's a bomb. Okay. I was pissed off a little. And then Shirogane is injured in the like explosion / collapse. And Asahana sets up kind of like this rope to get them all out of the burning building. But while he's setting everything up, while he's setting that all up, like Masaru kind of falls to the floor. And Narumi's like, I'm gonna get you! But then he starts to have one of his dumbass attacks, which are... It's really a weird choice. That he has
is a weird thing.
Random thing. I don't know. So Shirogane desperately tries to laugh, but like can't. And Narumi's like, it's okay. It's fine. Shirogane, it's funny that you're apologizing that you can't laugh. And then like pushes her to safety. And then goes and gets Masaru and comments that like, I should have been a clown like my grandfather. So I could have made kids smile. But I met you and that's cool. I did like the quote at the very end where he tells Masaru that like, if you're ever lost, to think with your heart and decide what to do, because that's kind of a good thing to take with you.
But when he said that, I was like, this guy's about to die.
Oh, well, it was so obvious. Like, I mean, come on. There were so many clue flags. Like, they didn't even try to hide it from you. Masaru wakes up with only Narumi's arm, but that's just weird and fucking dumb. It makes no sense. You know this.
Yeah, they don't understand how fire works, apparently.
Yeah, no, apparently fire just incinerates his whole goddamn body except this one arm, which is perfectly fine and is like just there. That's dumb. Well, y'all know that's dumb.
Right. And just to be clear, in like all movie fires, there's the magic where smoke inhalation doesn't kill you.
Exactly. I was like, how did Masaru not die of smoke inhalation?
Yeah, that's like the number. And everybody who dies in the fire almost always dies from smoke inhalation. It's not the fire itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like Masaru was definitely dead.
Also, I play the card of no body, no death. This dude is not dead.
Yeah. Yeah, and I posted this pic in here, which makes you really think, because he basically has, what was it called? Eloquin? Was the puppet's name?
Arlequin.
Oh, Arlequin.
Arlequin. Yeah. It's Narumi, but with Arlequin's left arm, which was his missing arm. So you're just like, all right, are they going to... I don't know where this can go, but like on a sick note, I'm like, are they going to make his arm Arlequin's new arm?
Oh, God.
I mean, maybe. But, like, let's think about it. Like, if his arm's there, if he had died, his body would be there, right? Like, it might be ash, but you would see some sign of it.
Yeah, he's not dead. He's not dead.
Somebody cut his arm off, like, and got him out of there, I guess?
But
we're going to find out.
Masaru sitting there? Or is he just having, like, some crazy fever dream at this point? I don't know.
I don't know, but I'm dying to see the next episode. But I was laughing because, like, all of the cinematography of that scene, like, especially right as he's dying and his face goes to, like, white and pencil-drawn sketches, is so Gurren Lagann, it's ridiculous. Like, that is exactly what it looks like when Kamina dies in that episode of Gurren Lagann. And it's just exactly the same. And I was like, I don't know if I want Narumi to die in this series, but, like, I don't think he's dead. Like, it's just too ridiculous.
He's not dead. I'm telling y'all, he's not dead. He's coming back. No body, no death. That's the way it works.
Very few shows have the actual balls that Gurren Lagann did to do something like that. And then not only that, but make it work for the rest of the show. Like, I would have been interested if they did that here, but also this manga was written before Gurren Lagann, so I doubt it did this.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, this manga was written in the late 90s.
Oh, well, if that's in the manga, 2000s. You can't fault it.
Exactly. Like, yeah, so if this is in the manga, like, well, what I can fault is that I think they did, like, very clearly copy, like, Gurren Lagann's, like, cinematography in this moment, but I don't mind that because it's, like, one of the hypest moments in all of anime, so, like, if you're gonna steal from the best, that's what I say.
So, oh my god.
Yeah.
So episode 5's out. Can I read the first sentence in this description?
No, sure, you can't. You know what, Leo? You already fucked up the beginning of this episode last time. You're not doing it again. Shut your mouth.
Wow. So aggressive. Guys, calm down. We're nice podcast hosts.
Stay in your lane, Leo. Stay in your lane.
I didn't mess it up on the podcast.
You did. You mentioned it during the last synopsis.
What I mention?
You mentioned that they had like a code and that they weren't supposed to switch sides, but then they decided to based on the book.
Yeah, that was in the end of the last episode.
No, it was at the beginning of this episode.
Was like a small recap.
Oh no, it was in the last episode cap.
I don't think it was
like recapped.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it was.
I'm gonna argue. Whatever. I'm just saying. I don't think it was because I was like lost. Because I had actually watched the episode I was supposed to watch, and you had watched ahead. So I'm pretty sure I'm right. Just saying.
No, I almost stopped you at the beginning of this episode and been like, you can skip your first paragraph because it's just a recap of the last episode.
No, I'm telling you, the last episode ended with him landing. It didn't explain the goddamn book thing yet. That was this episode.
I'm telling you, they were on the roof when Shio and Sato.
No, I will not concede. We can go back. I'm telling you.
Anyway, I think that's as good a note as Eddie to end things on for this episode.
Oh my god. Is it me? Because I'm looking at episode 3 right now and I want to see what happens.
No! Just read your goddamn line, Leo.
You don't want to be wrong. I got it. Okay, fine. Thanks for listening.
Let's see if you think is right, listeners.
Follow and subscribe to us on YouTube to get updates on new podcaster videos. You can also
find an iTunes review telling us who's right.
You can also find our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher, and follow us on Twitter at Nerdom and Other for updates as well. With that, we'll see everybody next time.
Bye.
Later.